Welcome to the Fourcast with myself, Wilkes, H-Rap, B, and Dog. And what we do on this show is that we review movies, docuseries, but we do it from a different angle. And when we do it, it's like nothing you ever heard before. This is an organic group of guys that have just come together. And what we do on Monday nights, I think, is epic. So let's, Wilkes, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Doc?
I'm fantabulous, brother.
And H-Rap, how you doing?
I got out the argument. I'm vainglorious.
Vainglorious. Look that up. Look that up in the dictionary.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sound like Jesse Jackson or something. All right, so tonight we are reviewing Exterminate All the Brutes. It's part one. It's the HBO Max original series, directed by, can somebody say his name? Because I'm about to butcher it.
Raoul Peck.
Raoul Peck. Thank you very much. That's
Raoul Peck.
That's why y'all here. So this, it's an internationally co-produced documentary miniseries revolving around colonization, and genocide.
Wait a minute, man. Now, wait a minute. So I watched the show that you was on this weekend, and they gave you kudos for your educational background. They say you went to Spelman.
Spelman for the females. I went to Morehouse. I said I went to Morehouse.
You went to Morehouse, and your wife went to Spelman, and yeah, we still having these issues, man.
It's a 4-part series. Tonight we will be reviewing part one because there was so much meat in part one.
Oh man!
You guys got to watch this because I think everybody needs to watch this. So my initial take when we seen the preview, when A-Trap sent the preview, I was like, okay, this is about to be probably one of the realest things that I've ever seen, and it's educational because it's taking you back to some of the roots of how these things got started. It's not just saying, hey, this is what happened. It's saying, let's rewind back so we can really see. So, Wilkes, give me your initial take on
man. Forget everything you learned in social studies.
All right.
Throw everything out the window about world history because let me tell you something. It's almost like, man, who puts you in charge kind of situation. You know, it's like you just taking up all the land. What are you trying to achieve? I mean, you're just gonna wipe out everybody because they don't look like you, or you starting, you know, close to animals. You higher than they are. You don't. It's just it's so much, man. It's so much. But we'll get into it. But I was just that first, like I think maybe 5 minutes when that government soldier showed up to that reservation, and I mean, he's just like, you're just gonna take over everything. And if you don't like the outcome, I'm just gonna come in and wipe you out. You know, it's like, wow, crazy.
Yeah, this pure evil. That's it. It's evil, greed. We'll take it. It's not. We know it's not ours, but we can care less if it's not ours.
Right.
That's that type of mentality. Taryn Rodriguez, thank you for tuning in. Justin Caraway, thank you for tuning in. He will be a little cat out of the bag. He is joining BSC Radio. We have a podcast called Elevate. So looking forward to his content. And then who is this, A-Trap? You told me to call her a nickname.
Tiki.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my
Rucker
brother.
Park. That's what we're gonna call it, Rucker Park.
But you know, this was, like I said, everyone needs to watch this because it takes you to that place where you need to know. And like Wilk said, yeah, forget about what you learned, forget about everything that was in all them books because it was all a lie. And it basically got exposed. All right, Doc.
Yeah, man. The first thing, you know, obviously, you know, as everybody been saying, there's a lot of meat on this bone, to say the least. But one of the things that stood out to me early, and it's why I instill in my family so much, is travel, right? How much did his travel influence his perspective? And he traveled at a young age, you know, and again, I as a dad, as a young dad, that was one of the things, that was one of the hits that I had early, right? As parents, we know we have some hits and misses, right? If we're being honest with ourselves. And that was one of my hits, is that I took my kids on a vacation every summer. And I did it specifically with the frame of mind that I wanted them to see more than just the neighborhood, And I think with this cat, man, his travel was a little forced, based on his dad's occupation and some positions he held, but it definitely influenced his perspective and caused him to run into some people that got him here. So I think that's the most intriguing aspect of the first episode of part 1 for me.
Yeah, definitely. A-Trap, thank you for recommending this. But A-Trap,
no problem. We'll get to, for those who don't know who Dog's talking about. He's talking about the producer and director, Mr. Peck.
Right.
Raoul Peck. He is a native of Haiti and was raised in the Congo. So, and he looks like he could be any of our cousins.
Right.
He speaks French. So he has so many different ways to attack this. And this is what Ivan was talking about. If you really want to get into some more of his work, you can look at it is on either on Netflix or on Amazon Prime. It's called I'm Not Your Negro, from a book from our great ancestor, James Baldwin. He did that too. So he's coming from the perspective of an African, and he a Haitian African black person. And he saw a void in our community. And as he states at the very beginning, our people are afraid to know the truth at this point. Because in my opinion, if they know the truth, they're forced to change. We're forced to leave the propaganda about black on black crime, we don't like each other, and all that behind. And that forces people to change their entire trajectory in life. And if you watch this as as Dog, as Wilkes, and Trey, and my man Ben will probably articulate after me. It's earth shattering, to say the least.
Yeah, if you're not careful, man, if you're not in the right frame of mind when you watch this, those people who come across it or something like that. Okay, we used the term organically earlier, right? Let's say you come across this organically and your headspace ain't right, it can rock your world, man. It literally can. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah. This is
not hyperbole at all.
Yeah, this is one of these things where we say we need to wake up. We need to understand what's really going on. This tells you this is that moment where you're like, wow, everything that I've been taught was a lie, and it was spent a certain way to make you view America. And like you said, A-Trap, if this is, we're scared to know what the truth is, because if we know, then it's like we gotta really realize and look in the mirror, like, wow, what I've been saying was the truth is not the truth. So the kind of rewind back a little bit. Exterminate All the Brutes was a book by Stephen Lindquist, who was also in the documentary, and he also helped produce this. He was a part of this, so it is based on a book. But part 1, just the title of part 1 alone tells you where this is going. The disturbing confidence of ignorance. And it's like you're
say that again, man.
Yeah, the disturbing confidence of ignorance. I mean, there was so many one-liners in this. Like, man, it's mind-blowing. And the opening scene, and Wilkes, I'll let you kind of touch on this since you brought this up. When she said, I didn't get down everything she said, but basically at the end she said, "What type of people are you?" To a sense that you just come here and you kill and you pillage and you think it's all yours. And so I'm gonna let you touch on that, because that next moment was like, wow, this hit it head on. There wasn't no sugarcoating, wasn't no let's make this look pretty. let's
Right.
make the man look pretty and oh, it was nice. No, this laid it all out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things where you get so arrogant, you get full of yourself, and you just think it's mine regardless. You're not using it properly. You know, it's given to you, so I want it. You know, it was just like I want to say like maybe in episode 2, and I'm just gonna jump a little quick. It was one of those moments where it was like, well, we give you. Matter of fact, I'll back up. Maybe the video that Dog has shared, and the guy was saying, we just want a little bit of this, what we have. Like, you keep taking everything, but yet you go tell me to do this, and then when I go do it, you want to come take it because I've already started it. Then you want to change it and claim it for yourself and make it yours, and like you found it, like you discovered it. And it's just one of those things where it's like, what are you trying to prove? But I guess from looking at this show, it's almost like one of those, you just want to eradicate people that don't look like you.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you want to get rid of their cultures. You want to get rid of them as a people. You pretty much don't want anything that is related. It's almost like you're trying to hurry up and speed up the eradication of a people. Like, so when they document it, it's almost like, oh, well, these people never existed. I've never heard of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was originally yours, you know? And it's just that scene when it was just like, man, so you're just going to go around and just take it forcefully. You just go, and all these stories is just making Indians look like they're radicals and just making it look like they just savages out here. Mm-hmm. Well, I see why they savages. I see why they radical. I mean, you keep oppressing the people long enough, they're going to rise up against you. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you expect?
Right.
You know, and you want to paint all this cowboys and Indians, the Indians the bad guy, but the cowboy is always the hero. Like, come on, man. No. That's not the case.
And the fact is, they were defending their land. It was their land. So right. You expect them just to lay down and say, take it. No, they were defending their land. Go ahead, A-Trap.
The most disturbing line in the entire documentary, if you ask me, was when the Indians or the natives said, why must you destroy me to get something that I would have given to you willingly?
Man, come on, man. It's enough in share. It's like, what?
That was the beginning, middle, and end of the situation.
Right. Like, what do you want?
You don't want to coexist. You would rather destroy me.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want to. You don't want to figure out a way to make it work. You just want to say, let's destroy it all and rebuild. And then you do it all over again. You destroy it again and you rebuild. That's the MO of the United States of America. Destroy it and rebuild. Right. And you think it's better, but it's not better.
And even though I was trying to avoid this topic, but the whole police brutality thing. I was watching this podcast last night. And there's some good brothers on there. But one of them really bothered me when he was like, just because it's a white cop and a black dude don't mean it's racist. And yeah, if you're going to speak in exacts, yeah, obviously all white cops that arrest or get into it with black men are not racist. But if we're talking 7 or 8 out of 10, it may as well be all. This guy literally said, and this is because he hasn't seen things like this, I'm assuming. He was like, well, if you really want to avoid the police and avoid trouble, don't be driving around with bad license, bad tags, drinking. And I'm like, so we're not going to put no blame on the system.
Right.
We're going to put all the blame on the guy. And they was like, don't wear a hoodie outside. I'm like, like, so basically, in order to live in America, I must strip myself of all personality and conform to the way you think I should look, and then I still got a hope.
And funny what A-Trap is right there. Even in those pictures that they were taking of the Native Americans, 1 minute they're in the Native American attire, next minute they slowly changing clothes.
Yes.
Next minute they slowly changing their hairstyle. It's like, what do you want? Like, just it's not working for you. So I'm sorry, you're gonna have to conform to this machine that is pretty much eradicating everything that you thought it was yours or you knew of. So we're gonna take away all your comforts
Yeah.
and all your cultures.
Yeah,
You know?
that part was extremely telling, where it went from their native attire, and then it went a little bit lesser, and then it just came to a point where they were wearing button ups and slacks.
Right.
I mean, you take someone so far away, and that is us right there.
Well,
that is black people. You take us so far away from what our origins were that we don't even know what it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's colonization. You know, that's part of it. Dr. Miles Monroe, the dearly departed Dr. Miles Monroe, you got to look up his interpretation of colonization. Oh, you want to talk about a bad interpretation, man? This dude break it down, and he links it to the human body as well, you know, and how colonization, and colonization. Oh, it's bad, you know. Wow. And he talks about that, you know, obviously you notice how every place that has been colonized, the language has changed. That's part of it. You know, you got to talk like us, you got to dress like us, you got to, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But early on in this documentary, when I think she was Seminole, and this was the part where they had the actress playing her to reenact some of the scenes, right? And she was negotiating with the guy who you later find out worked for the Virginia, what was the name of that company out of London, the Virginia Trade Company or something of that nature, right? It was a for-profit organization, but he came across as a military guy, but that's one of the first situations where you understand that organizations are backing U.S. military action, right? Well, it wasn't U.S. military action at the time, but we've taken that playbook as the same, right? And she says, "What kind of people are you?" And he pulled out his gun and he popped in right in the forehead. He said, "This kind. You don't need to know nothing else."
Yeah.
Right.
We're not here to talk. We're not here to negotiate. We're not here to, and it happened to be the Seminole people, which is the only tribe out of all the Indian tribes that are there, all Native American tribes there. They were the only one that never signed a treaty with the U.S. government, you know, and I want to say the U.S. government signed over 370 treaties and violated 370 of them. So every last treaty they signed, they violated. But, you know, and you want to talk about power packed in that moment, because my mouth was open for about 3 minutes. You know,
crazy.
And then you even look at the name Seminole. It's actually it's a derivative of a Latin word, similar, and that word means wild, and that taps right into what you said. The Seminole tribes were infused with the Africans who were here previous to this whole situation, this whole colonization situation, right? And if you watch this documentary called Trail of Tears, you'll find out about this awesome brother by the name of John Horse. John Horse was part European, part African. So he was able to walk around freely because his dad was a owner of Africans. So he used to check people, you know how they always show the slaves kowtowing to Caucasian people. If he saw you doing that, he'd be, hey, straighten your back up. And if you didn't walk upright, he put his hands on you, right? So of course they ran him out of town. Where did he go? To Florida and hung out with the Seminoles and beat President Andrew Jackson off the Seminoles for years. And the wars went on for years. And Andrew Jackson said, he sent notification to the Seminoles, hey, if y'all kick out John Horse, who's teaching y'all how to fight, and this actually ties into y'all state, y'all kick out John Horse, who's teaching y'all how to fight, we'll stop these wars against y'all. So of course a reasonable thinker will say, hey man, John, you got to go, we tired of fighting, right? That led to the Trail of Tears, which is the Seminole Nation being kicked out of Florida because, of course, Andrew Jackson is a damn liar, right? You guys know the song Yellow Rose of Texas. You think that's about a flower, but it's not. It's about a light-skinned woman named Rose. They used to mess around with John Horse, who set John Horse up by white folks so they could kill him. Because he was teaching the Mexicans and the Indians in Texas how to fight. Right. So the Yellow Rose of Texas has nothing to do with the flower. It's about this woman named Rose who sold out John Horse.
Wow.
Knowledge bomb.
Hey, them red bones get you every time. I know them yellow hammers.
Let's give a couple of shout outs here. Andrea Perkins, thank you for tuning in. And TC the Great. Is that TC from
Jaws?
Okay, cool. Thank you for tuning in. I love your perspective, TC, on the show. Wanted to say that as you're tuning in right now. All right, so 1607, that was a significant date in this movie. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get the actual reason down why, but A-Trap, I'm pretty sure you probably got that.
That's the Haitian Revolution Day. I mean, that's 1807. I'm sorry. 1607 is basically when these people got together. That's when they had enough numbers to say, we get rid of y'all. Because as you saw early in the documentary, they became cannibals. They even Raoul Peck didn't mention this. They were digging their own dead up and eating them before that. So 1607 is yeah. See, even Raoul didn't get into that deep. They came over here, couldn't till the land, told them, you saw when they was beating on the native brothers and sisters.
Right.
And then they said, hey, we're strong enough now, we taking over. So now they going around coughing in their faces.
Right.
Bringing the land and destroying them.
Yeah.
So 1607, a small band of about 100 English colonists reached the coast near Chesapeake Bay. They founded Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in North America. During the next 150 years, a steady stream of colonists went to America and settled near the coast. So
that's when they finally got their feet up under.
Right.
And then death to the whack MCs, so to speak. You know.
Now we're gonna touch on this line in the movie, and kind of, I think, Doc, you mentioned this. The natives were willing to help. Like that's the thing. Like as a people, we colored people are always looking for a way to help, and it always seems to be ripped and torn when you're trying to put out a helping hand. And that just goes back to show that the natives were good people. It wasn't as if they were the ones. They weren't the aggressor. They were not the aggressor.
Right.
They were defending. That's called self-defense, which we talk about in today's time, which in a lot of instances does not get recognized as self-defense. But there was a line that said, courage to understand what we know and draw conclusions. That was a powerful line right there. Courage to understand what we know and draw conclusions. Because we can run around and we can watch this and then say, well, that's just propaganda and that's not real. And what I read back in the day about Christopher Columbus was totally different. But when you think about it logically, how do you discover something when there's somebody already here? You didn't discover it. It's just as simple.
You left that part out.
Right, exactly. So if you guys want to touch on that, because a lot of heavy lines in this, Wilkes.
Yeah, I feel like when somebody has the courage in what they know, they can't, and nobody can bullshit you. It's like, when I know what I know, you can't pull the wool over me now, unless you've got something going on that I can't see. But other than that, I'm going to know the facts. But it's one of those things where you just, once again, you just have this sense about yourself that you just own everything you touch. like you were saying, the Native Americans are just willing to help. Like, I don't understand. It's like, well, the truth is we have enough land here. We have enough, I guess you would say herds of cattle or buffalo or whatever the case. But it's like just that knowledge, and we have culture, we have ways to clothe, we have ways to feed off the land and live off the land and things. But yet you just want to just bulldoze all that. I just want it. I just want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to take it and get rid of you and just move on, because it's like it's almost like, oh, you're not using it properly. How can I? It's a wilderness. I can't tame all of it,
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you want? Are you trying to bring a New England to the United States? Like, are you trying to build this industrial period? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to speed up? Because obviously it sounds like genocide. Like, you just want to wipe out everybody.
Yeah.
And who knows? You may take their bones and grind them and turn it into a substance like cocaine or opium. We don't know what you're doing with it. But, it's like, who knows what you're dealing in and what you're bringing. It's just one of those crazy things where it's like, we have the knowledge to share with you, but you rather go about it the aggressive way. You'd rather just exterminate and think, your word is law and it's final. But that was a powerful line in that movie there.
Definitely it was. Let's give a couple of shout outs to Black Swan, also Labrador Matador. He said that's episode 3. So it seems like you have watched it. Give us your opinion on it, and we will be doing one episode each week, just because there's so much content in it. We may touch on things as we go along. It's a reference to further episodes. But Doc.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what H-Rap and I mentioned earlier, and he was talking about, why are you trying to take what we were given willingly and with love, and it's like, you don't have to take it, we're going to give it to you, but you never even, that part of the conversation never happened,
Right.
Now, again, that part of the conversation happened in history books, right? That's what we were told. That's what they're still teaching, I have no doubt, right? But in reality, that was never a question, whether, how can we do this? Hey, we're here, none of those conversations took place. They came in and they immediately started bullying. But again, it is the playbook. That's the playbook.
Yeah.
And in fact, what's funny about that is that they said Hitler himself looked to America and what they did to be able to get his playbook. Now that's not a strong statement. The playbook was there. But and they throw the term genocide around loosely and willingly and easily whenever you're talking about what took place there, with the Holocaust and whatnot. But when you start talking about it in terms of Native American, nobody don't want to go there. But in essence, that's what it was. And when they show those graphs, man, of how slowly they took over, and it was almost like, if you're watching a documentary or the National Geographic about how bees are swarming the land or taking over the land, man, that's exactly what locusts taking over the land. That's exactly what was taking place. They just slowly took it, and slowly, those numbers just kept dwindling on how many millions of people that they killed. And at the end of the day, there's no way around that. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. There's no alternative. Matter of fact, he mentioned in that, he goes, that there is no such thing as alternative facts.
Right.
It's no such thing.
Right.
What happened,
Right.
And so we talk about knowing the truth, and then what are you going to do with it, right? And it's like, we all kind of knew what the truth was, right? We kind of been hearing, if you're Black in America, it's a safe bet that you done heard this somewhere at the barbershop, at your uncle house, at your crazy auntie house, at you done heard this somewhere, right? So you kind of know, okay, something went down, you know what the deal is, but there is a fear of accepting the truth, because if you do, you realize that to a certain extent we done bought into it, and we done chose to thrive in that lie.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? We done thrive in that lie.
Hey, A-Trap, go ahead, and then I got a question for all of us.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna touch on a few things. like a lot of people always ask the first question, so why didn't they just kill them and then get rid of them? First of all, you have to understand this piece has been left out of the story. There's documentation as far west as Illinois. You had it actually far west as the Pacific Ocean, but I'm thinking Illinois specifically because there were caves in Illinois in which you had people from Mansa Musa's tribe leaving artifacts. King Mansa Musa is the richest man in the history of the world to this very day. He looks like us. So the people who were here were used to people coming to the shores and say, hey, how y'all doing? I got this. I got sweet potatoes. Let me get some of that corn. They called it maize at the time. So they were used to people coming here, interacting peacefully, leaving, and then it was over. So when that's what you are traditionally used to, when somebody comes here to destroy you, you don't understand it. No. Second thing, it's one thing in the event that any of those West African tribes who would have just came over here acting fool, they didn't come over here with arms. They would have had a fisticuffs war, and then the natives could have fought them off if necessary. So that's the second thing. The third thing is what you touched on a second ago, Ivan. This is I'm glad you brought that up about Adolf Hitler, because watch this. Adolf Hitler, as you stated, got his playbook right out of America's playbook. Y'all ready for this part, though? He said, hey, slow down. That's just a little too brutal. Look at Adolf Hitler's history and say, okay, these Jim Crow laws, this is a dude who put people in ovens, right? Who literally, it's people walking around the United States of America right today with tattoos from Adolf Hitler on their body. Right. And he said, hey, that what y'all doing to black people, that's just too much. Yeah. Let that sink in, man. Right. Y'all tripping. Well, y'all, I'm not even gonna do people like that. I will suffocate people in an oven. I will gas people to death, but I'm not gonna treat them like y'all treat black people. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. So that's the crazy part. See, it's easy, it's shocking when you hear, hey man, Adolf Hitler got his game plan from America. But the real shocking part is,
that sounds crazy. I sound like a lunatic when I say that.
Right,
that's a crazy statement.
And then when you go, but he said y'all went too far. When you have a dude that said y'all tripping, and he's destroying people,
destroying millions.
Exactly. That's like me going in somewhere using a flamethrower, but somebody come in with a tank. Now look, you don't went to a whole different extreme. right. Whoa, wait a minute, man. A tank? I'm just trying to burn them. You ever try to eradicate them, blow them up, run them over? Yeah. It's like, wow, man.
No, let me give a couple shout outs. Lamar Williams, thank you for tuning in. D Great, thank you for tuning in. Labrador Matador, we appreciate the comments. He said it should be taught in all high schools along with the people's history of the United States and the indigenous people's history of the United States. It's almost like you guys watched the whole series. Well, some of us have watched ahead just because it was just too good, but we won't.
It was too good to stop.
Yeah, it was too good to stop. That's true. You were very educated on many of the points that will come in the next episode. And Lamar Williams says, wow. This entire series will have you saying, wow. So I'll bring up this point. And Dark, like you said, we have profited from this. We have paid into this. We have lived this every single year on a certain date. So my question is, why do we celebrate Thanksgiving then? Why?
Oh, well,
we greedy as hell.
That's one side.
Simple as that.
I think if you know the history of it, it was quickly whitewashed to believe that it was a Christian holiday. It was turned into believing that it was about giving thanks to what God had given you. But they were trying to unlink it from the fact that, unfortunately, it was a massacre after certain things didn't go right. And they massacred the native people and the indigenous people. But then I think somewhere I've read like years later, they tried to make it seem like, oh, well, it's about giving God thanks. It's about giving what God has blessed you with. So they're trying to once again twist it and make it their own and say, well, this is what it really is. It's just kind of like what Doc was saying, about Hitler. Okay, we keep forgetting Hitler was well after the eradication of Native Americans. America eradicated Native Americans and indigenous people. He literally took people from their own continent and shipped them across the continent, the equator, to different areas. And then when they didn't when they didn't do what you want them to do, you shot them, you slaughtered them, you scalped them, you put their heads on spikes. So of course Hitler has a playbook. It's just like when you watch something like these alien movies or these sci-fi movies and they come to Earth. The first thing they're gonna show you is the brutal side of humanity. They're gonna show you war. They're gonna show you everything that has been done to try to outdo the other person, the aggressor. So it's just one of those things where it's like it shouldn't be no surprise. Yes, Hitler did the things he did, but we have to also remember, like I said earlier, a few shows back, nothing is written or done without some kind of inspiration.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll say this: I've been studying on where these holidays came from, and a lot of these holidays, which is kind of the next point I'll get to in a minute. But Doc, did you want to touch on that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was joking when I said it, but it's the truth. Part of it is food, and I can't remember who said it. Lamar said it: food, folks, and fun. We gonna take an excuse. If it's an excuse to get together with family and have a good time and et cetera, because at the end of the day, we're really not thinking about it, right? Mm-hmm. We're going through zombie-like, actually, think about it. It's the reason why folks are getting called woke right now, right? Because they know that's an acknowledgement of the fact that we've been asleep for well over 400 years.
Yeah.
Oh, man, over 400 years. We've been asleep. Okay. And so that's why they calling it woke. And that's part of it. Right. And so Thanksgiving was sold to us. It's part of this package that we've been sold. Right. It's this nice, neat box package labeled properly so you can take it and you can consume it and it tastes okay. And it's okay to your palate mentally. Right. That's what the deal is, along with so many other things, right? It's part of it, and again, the propaganda machine is a beast. They did it in movies, they did it in television commercials, they did it in print advertisement, they did it in, you follow what I'm saying? So you've been inundated with this information to where after a while, if you tell somebody a lie long enough, they're going to believe it and you're going to start believing it.
Yep. Right. And you can tell other people about it.
Simple as that.
Yep. Hey, Trump.
Oh, it's just like anything else, man. They told you this too. It's called a concession. Holidays are concessions. When you look into the history of these holidays, like Christmas, Nimrod's birthday, has nothing really to do with Jesus. It's Nimrod's birthday. Look at it, and it shows you that they condition you to be lazy. They condition you to be. When you start looking into these things, you'll find out that the very Christ that you,
I said it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
The very Christ that we all love and we all praise tells you not to follow the very things we follow.
Right.
It's a concession. It's just like they're doing now. We're gonna kill as many of y'all by these cops as we can. We're gonna defund your schools. We're gonna kill your community, but we're gonna put a whole lot of black people on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you thinking it's improvement. But no, it's not. Because the machine only works. Look, throughout history, as Ivan said, the woke thing, the machine only works when the few at the top send some trinkets down to the people at the bottom. Because the people at the bottom shake the tree, and then they start shaking the tree, and the rich people almost fall out. The people in power almost fall out, and they throw down concessions, and then we go, okay, cool. Well, what we need to do as a community, as a culture, is ask two questions. Why didn't we just shake the tree until it fell? And this is the greatest question I want to ask everybody. We call ourselves African Americans. When do we stop being Africans? And at what point will they allow us to be Americans?
Right. Exactly.
And Labrador Matador, man, you
he owned it, man.
On the head, but you own it tonight. It's about capitalization.
Man, capitulation, man.
Capitulation. I thought he misspelled it.
he may have, but that's not the point.
I thought it was a trash can. I don't know. Jesus was born in June, and that's a fact. We celebrate Christmas as if Jesus was born on that day. He was not. Like, we've been celebrating this stuff for so long. A-Trap, like you said, we don't ask questions. I'm A1. I've been following this stuff for a long time to ask any questions. And then you start to dive into it, and you like, this got nothing to do with Jesus. This has nothing to do with Jesus. And then, you go kind of bring it to the next point, the Roman Catholic Church. A lot of this stuff starts with the Roman Catholic Church and with Romans. Like, it goes back to that part.
You want to talk about some thugs, homeboy?
Oh man, Crusades alone. Let's not even talk about how I'm going to force my beliefs on you. We haven't even got to that part. We haven't even got to the part of popes and cardinals doing dirt.
Yeah,
go kill these people because they're heathens. They don't believe in what we believe. But it's also about money. They promised us rubies and jewelry and land. Go kill them, and then we'll bless it once you take it. Come on, man.
And watch this, though. Watch this. The word heathen, it only means unlike me.
Wow.
Right. So it's like, come on, man.
Now,
you think heathen means something bad. It just means you're not like me.
That way, yeah. Now, Labrador Matador had a stronger comment. He said the winners write the history and always paint themselves and their atrocities in a positive light. That's another strong one. That's exactly what took place. Who's going to be there to dispute it? And by the time you start disputing it, we've been spewing it for so long to where it's going to take you don't have enough power to overturn what we've been talking about for 400 years. You don't have enough patience. You don't have enough tolerance to overturn what we've been stating for years. And guess what? If somebody started getting listened to a little too much, we gonna kill him.
Right.
Or her. Right? So you talk about asking questions being the reason, folks. Hey, guess what? Because deep down inside, subconsciously, that the people who ask questions don't make it very long.
Get dealt with.
Right? And especially the people who ask questions that start getting some of the answers and sharing some of those answers.
Right.
They don't make it out. See Fred Hampton.
Add one more thing, and you can't be bought off.
Yeah. Right. There's a guy that we found that had a YouTube channel. Now, he's not doing that channel anymore, but some people have kind of funneled his videos. And me and my wife were talking like maybe they got to him. It was like, hey, you spitting too much. You spitting too much knowledge that people can use. So Labrador Matador with another, no, not that one, another one. He said, now Christmas is about capitalization. See,
oh my God, now you did, man. It's capitalism.
I'm just
thank you, Wilkes. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
And boosting fourth quarter profits. He's right. For a long time, I worked at Home Depot, and earlier and earlier they started setting out the Christmas stuff. At first, it was in December, and then it was November, and then it was you started getting stuff basically in September, August. You started getting the stuff in. You could just put it up in the overhead, and you bring it down. So that's 100%. That's 100% right.
Oh, it's money. You follow the money. Earlier I mentioned the Virginia Company of London, and they finance some of these wars, right? In fact, they've been Virginia Company of London been sending folks out to go get furs, murder folks to be able to steal the fur trade. Oh, let me put it like this: the fur trade across the world. That you want to talk about? Let me put it like this: before crack became whack, the fur trade was where it was at, and they were taking folks out, man. Matter of fact, there's a real good movie that's out on it. There was a series, I think, and Jason Momoa, I think is what his name is, the cat that played Aquaman. Yeah. He was in one of those in a movie that talked about it, man.
Like Was it the Explorers or something like that?
I would be perfectly honest, I don't know. It was a series though, but they really got into that fur trade and how many folks done died as a result. And again, at the end of the day, it's about money. Follow the money. Simple as that. Follow the money.
Yeah.
That's what it's all.
Hey, to piggyback off that thing with Jason, he has another series, and it's metaphorically talking about what we talking about. It's a war on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The blind people versus the people that can see.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that can see are the evil people.
Yeah, of course.
That's on Apple, isn't it?
Yeah, that's on Apple.
Yeah, they crazy.
That's exactly what you're talking about, dog.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to.
That's right.
The thing is,
that's it, Labrador.
Looking at it.
That's it, Labrador. He hit it. Frontier is the name of the series. It was Jason Momoa. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Man, this documentary hit on so many points. Now, the conditions of genocide. Did you guys see those when they came up? It was 5 of them.
I didn't see them. I saw it so long ago. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was fanaticism, exploitation, slavery, conquest, and contempt for aliens. And like those things right there, which basically we've seen these. We've seen these in and it's all throughout this first part, and then if you watch the head, you got to see it further there.
Right.
But it just shows the mentality. It's savagery. That's what it is.
Right.
Like they point and say, we're the savages, but they're more savagery than anybody. Right. And then the point in that first season and kind of throughout, the guy that was just coughing. Like I don't know. I don't know if that came to a head because I didn't watch all the way.
Nah, yeah, that was for something. They the filmmaker that was no accident. Okay.
Right. That was pretty much kind of like what was going on the slave ships and the different deportation. Well, not deportation, but it's like you bring your disease to our lands, but guess what? You killing us, but you don't even know we have medicines out here in the wild that can heal that. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's to the point of where it's too far gone, then unfortunately, but we can teach you how to make medicines. We can teach you how to heal your men and get you food, but yet you just want to slaughter, burn, and take. But you bringing these diseases that we've never even witnessed. You coughing on there, you sick, you sweating. Like, what are you doing?
Why are you sweating so much?
Right.
You ain't working out. Hey.
Right. You stroking already? Like, what's going on? It's amazing, man. It's amazing. It's just
46 total genocides listed. That blew my mind. It did. And that map that basically showed people just deteriorating and they were just eating. It's just like eating it up. Like right. that gave you a really good image, and it just started to show all of the people that were carried over, and it just went down the list. I mean,
especially down into Brazil, South America. It was like, oh my goodness, like it's just all through there. Afro Latin. It's like you just transporting everybody over there. Because you want to take the resources. You won't learn how to harvest them. You won't learn how to gain it for your benefit. We'll give it to you. We can't control all this, but you just want to wipe us out. You want now you racing to save the earth which you had to pillage.
Yeah.
Well, if you would have learned how to respect it in the beginning, you wouldn't be trying to tell me now to go get an electric car. But whatever.
Labrador Matador, man, you're hitting it. Flu eliminated more Native Americans than war. And the U.S. gave them blankets infected with it on purpose.
Yeah, a rose by any other name is still the same. So you call it flu, I call it war. It's the same. These are just the methodology of war. They just save some bullets. Hey, let's put it in these blankets. But the thought process, the reasoning, the end result, the agenda was all still the same.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's
but forget about it though, right? That was years ago.
That was old. That was old. That's not happening.
Yeah.
That's not happening now, is it?
Yeah.
No, right?
Yeah, y'all need to get over it.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
old. That's old stuff.
No. Better yet, I didn't do that to you.
Yeah,
That's the straight one. That's the straight one. I didn't do that, but you reaping the benefits of it.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
How
how
do
about
you?
this?
Right.
Mr. Washington, Mr. George Washington had an African not taught you about immunization, smallpox, would have took your ass out of that damn Revolutionary War.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, how do you think you got to this point? You didn't get to this point just knowing this. Like, you didn't get to this point just coming into this world just, oh yeah, I know what that is. I understand. No, you don't. You took it and you tried to wipe it out, right? And you make it, and even I want to say maybe the second episode there was a part where they were making the priests and the monks look like they were just their hands were clean. But you over here burning people at the stake. Come on, man. What you doing?
I think one of the multiple things that blew me away was Ford, Mercedes-Benz, Volvo supported Hitler. I did not know that. That part was and that's how they continued to flourish, and that's how Hitler continued to do what he was doing.
Yeah.
Next time you drink a Shasta or a Fanta, say, I Hitler.
When they good too, man. Damn. Damn.
Man, I mean, it's just a sad commentary, man. That I mean, until the Japanese did what they did, America was like, cool,
right,
cool, no problem.
Yeah, Ford. So with Ford, you're talking about Henry Ford gave all the profits of vehicles sold in Germany to the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
He followed that up with another 350,000 every year on Hitler's birthday.
Right.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
If that's not support, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's his birthday?
Yeah.
The weed day is Hitler's birthday, 420.
Wow.
I mean, it has nothing to do with Hitler.
It would be related to smoke, I guess.
No. The weed day is because it started in California. So nothing to do with Haiti.
Well, I'm gonna be celebrating one of them tomorrow. I ain't gonna say
Now, Wilkes, you're a car guy. You have a Mustang.
Way to go, Wilkes. Way to go.
But if you want to add on to that or bring any perspective.
Well, the funny thing was, even before Hitler came in, I mean, Hitler and that Ford relationship even came into play. And maybe a little bit after that, he was not. There was something in Detroit, and you guys may have to help me out. But he was against the black people in the city of Detroit in certain areas where they could, eat and dine, and hotels they could stay in. He had a lot of pull around Detroit, so that should tell you alone. It's like one of those things where it's like, you don't look like me. Why are you here? But yet, how do you think you got there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things, I see people, they want, I'm not going to shop at Home Depot because, they support the gay community. I was like, you might as well stop living life, period. Because everything in this life is not pure. It has been tainted. It has been touched by something that has a history that you are not aware of. Right. You might as well stop living. You might as well check out. I mean, Ford, Benz, Porsche, Volkswagen supported the war. Nazi, they're backing. Matter of fact, I want to say it was Porsche. If it wasn't Porsche or one of the doctors, he was literally inventing rockets, missiles to take out Allied forces for Hitler. It was like one of those things where it's like everything in this world is not pure, So you want to say, well, I don't want to use Tide. I'm gonna use Gain. Well, that's Procter and Gamble, so it's still everybody. So
it's still dirty.
I don't understand. Like, you might as well just stop with life, because unfortunately, if you dig far enough, you're gonna find those things that are gonna surprise you. Something has been tainted by something. Nothing is pure.
Mm-hmm.
Labrador Matador. You're going to be living like an Amish before too soon.
Right.
That's it. That's the only way.
Yeah. One of the first things that hit me, you know, we talk about stocks a lot here off air, you know, and Ford was one of those investments that, you know, I made early last year, and that investment is triple.
Right.
Quadrupled, actually.
It's the way of the machine.
I don't plan on giving it back, but at the same time, you know, Labrador Matador say, I feel bad rocking my expedition now. You know, well, fortunately, we've talked about this in previous shows. I do good things with, you know, giving and whatnot, right? You know, so at the end of the day, I'm okay. I'm not going to lose no sleep over it.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it's something we got to think about, right? You know,
we got to.
You know, because again, at the end of the day, we are profiting off of this machine, right? You know, we profiting off of it at the end of the day. You know, unless we're willing to live like Amish, is there a way around it?
And I don't know. Those trees were soaked with blood, so I don't know what the Amish really is using. That's not pure either. So
I heard that.
Sorry.
But okay, the way you could combat that is out of need, out of necessity, not out of greed, not from greed and
I got you.
An inability to display self-control. For example, you don't want to support Ford, but you still like the Ford product. You can still buy the Ford product, just never buy it brand new.
Right.
Yeah.
You can go to the HRAP dealership.
Right.
That has nothing to do with the dealer.
Right.
And obtain it. That money does not go back to Ford.
Right.
Yeah.
So, see, we've been, I've been consistently calling it this for years. We've been Americanized. And what Americanized means to me is we must have brand new gym shoes. We must have the top of the line this. We must have the top of the line that. But if we just start buying out of secondary markets, all we would do is circulate the money. Because if Trey had a dealership, but if Ben had a dealership and we never went to a Chevy dealership, we never went to a Pontiac dealership or any of these places, and we just start buying directly aftermarket,
right,
we would shut them down.
Right.
Because the easiest thing to do is to buy a used car. Only person gets paid is the person who, like I said on my show 2 weeks ago, if you want to circulate the black dollar, you go to One United Bank, open an account, and then you get a loan from One United Bank to purchase a used vehicle.
Right.
And you get that used vehicle. Now the money is at One United Bank and it's at Ben's dealership and it's in our community because now more people buying from Ben. People not going down to the dealership, but we want the flashy car. I literally had a debate with one of my closest friends a week, probably about a week ago today. I like watches. I got a ton of watches. And he was like, hey man, you keep buying those $200-300 watches. And when we get rich, me and our other homeboy, we gonna clown you for that. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, man, you ain't even trying to buy a Rolex. I was like, what? You're not a real collector unless you got a Rolex. I said, wait a minute. I'm not collecting. I'm only a collector if I collect what you like versus what I like. And he sent me I sent him 14 of my watches. Yeah, these trash. He sent me 14 of the ugliest watches I've ever seen in my life. And he told me I wasn't real unless I got those watches. When we removed that ideology from our mind, we'll be. And then he ended up when we debated for about an hour, then we left it alone. And then Friday, he had a come to Jesus moment. Kanye West put a pair of his shoes on sale for $1 million. He said, I guess you do buy what you want when you're a collector. I said, exactly.
Right.
So when we leave that alone, Ivan, then we can buy what we want. But don't go buy. Just because I have $1 million don't mean I have to go buy the brand new whatever.
Right.
Because at that point we are supporting white imagination. That's what I call with the S word that they use. I call it white imagination. Shout out to his gift. She in the building.
And tell him to stop buying them Diner Club watches. Rolex is ugly. Shit. Ugly ass watches.
He's probably listening now. That's what I'll be doing. So I'll be sending out the joints. He cussing me out after the show.
Right.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point, A-Trap. Another part and we're talking about part 1 of Exterminate All the Brutes. The portion where it talked about what poor whites were given land. That part was I didn't know that part either. And this is what I love about documentaries, because this is, and we didn't really even touch on this. This is a mixture between a documentary and a movie, like a actor led movie. So it was put together to where you're seeing things played out, but you're learning things that are also presented to you. And that was one thing I did not know. A-Trap, you kind of lifted your head back. What was
I'm about to pull up this thing so you can see it. And our great ancestor, Dr. King, said you can play it for the people. I'm about to send it to you. And I got to turn it down because you know when you open it up, he'll just start talking. He speaks about that. As a matter of fact, Dr. King spoke about this the day before he was assassinated. Yeah, man. Over for the question you asked me specifically, over 400,000 acres of land were given away. They got education on how to till that land. Here's the thing. This is, I don't even remember if they covered this. I don't think I saw this in the document. No, you know what? I didn't watch number 4 all the way through. I was doing something else when I got to 4. But here's the crazy part. This is why they introduced the concept of what is it called? My grandmother used to do it, sharecropping. Because you emancipate all these people. It's actually more of them than us. I mean, that's what they're saying. It's more of them than us. And we don't have anybody to till this land because guess what? We don't know how.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have to introduce sharecropping so we can stay ahead of the game. They actually, well, contrary to popular belief, they actually gave some people in South Carolina the 40 acres and a mule. And right at harvest, we're going to need all that back. But I'm going to sing you this. Please play it so that people can hear it. This is something else most people have never heard. I just sent it to you via text. And you can look it up and then play it via video for the people because this is something that folks need to hear, man. And it's ironic that you brought this up. And this is Dr. King speaking like you've never heard. That's mine. That ain't Dr. King talking. That's mine.
Yeah.
And it's gonna. I guarantee you guys, it was shocked at when Ben plays this clip and what our great ancestor Dr. King said. You will understand why he lay dead less than 24 hours later. Because it's a sad commentary, and you know they'll let an H-Rap live, right? Because ain't nobody paying attention to H-Rap. He just a dude in Chicago running his mouth. Even if I start making money, if we start making money, they're not going to silence us anymore. They'll let us talk. You know why? You really want to give up that cable TV? Listen to H-Rap? Oh, so you ain't going to drive your Benz no more? Listen to H-Rap?
Right.
H-Rap, he's a hate monger. I've had people in my family literally say when we talking about things like this, I was talking about things like this to you guys before we even watched this, right?
Right, yeah.
I used to have family members say, why you hate white people so much? What? Oh, didn't I just tell you they decapitated your mama? But you hate them. That's why we celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Christmas because it's easier. Because then you got to start wearing that Jordan. You got to start wearing fur coats, as you stated, Ivan. And it's just a propaganda-based system that gets us to buy into what they want. watch this. The ruby is far more rare than the diamond, but the diamond is way up here.
Right.
But I thought it was about rare jewels. Rare jewels is something that most people don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So very few people have rubies. Why ain't they sisters running around here talking about, if you really love me, you'll give me a 5-carat ruby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that would be, but if you bought your woman a 5-carat ruby, the world would look at her like she had a pop bottle on her hand. Right, ruby. Girl, why he ain't get you no diamond?
Right.
Right.
Did
you, that's why I was saying that earlier. Because,
I got it. I'm loading it up right now.
And that's why I was mentioning earlier about the rubies, because if you throughout history and just books, the ruby was always sought after. The ruby was the thing they wanted. I wasn't talking about diamonds. It was rubies and gold is what they wanted.
Because you could walk at one point, you could walk through the streets of Africa and see them on the ground.
Man, crazy.
So, anybody else want to touch on that? Talk amongst yourselves while I'm uploading this.
Vamp. He wants us to vamp. Well, I'm gonna tell you something that stood out for me. You know, they said 3 words summarize the entire history of humanity. That's civilization, colonization, and extermination.
Right. That's episode 1, folks.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. It's the bookend.
Episode number 1.
And that's what, like I laugh at people that be, hey man, you get your old lady something sweet as day. Oh man, that's a man-made holiday. Really? Right. Really, bro? You getting us something for Valentine? Yeah, I do that. On the day that they used to castrate brothers. You celebrate that, but you ain't gonna celebrate that holiday they created 8 years ago or 15 years ago. But to castrate the black man holiday, yeah, it's just. But y'all hear this?
Here we go.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Right.
Wow. We come
How many of us heard that speech?
Yeah.
Right. The ones.
See, and that's what y'all was talking about earlier. You start speaking the truth, you become woke. And then all of a sudden it's a problem. If you look at the last Dr. King speech, he has a bunch of Muslims behind him. They're all in jalabias.
Yeah.
So it's just
because once again, he's just like Fred Hampton. He's mobilizing everybody. He's not just for one specific person. They don't want you to rise up. Like I said, you can only oppress the people for so long. They're gonna rise up, and even eventually, you're gonna show those poor white people they doing you the same thing. They doing you the same way. They doing you the same way.
That's why in Memphis he had the Poor People's Campaign. He has civil rights in him.
Yeah.
He died representing the Poor People's Campaign.
Right.
Now we were talking about the diamonds. I don't know if y'all read this already, but Labrador Matador, because diamonds go with everything. Not everyone can rock red. So
if y'all get one more thing. If y'all get a chance, look at this conversation between, even though I hate this guy, Vlad from Vlad TV, Michael John White gets into a conversation with him about how he pretty much shut some white supremacists down. And one of the points he used, he was like, so if I move in your neighborhood, would you be mad? He's like, yeah. He's like, so what if a Middle Eastern guy moved in your neighborhood? Yeah, I'll be mad. He said, what if a guy moved in your neighborhood? He said, and he worded it so the white dude would be stuck. Because, the basis of their entire argument is religion, as we saw from the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what if a Middle Eastern guy moved in your neighborhood? He's like, yeah, I hate that. He said, so if a guy came back and he was from Jerusalem and he moved in your neighborhood, you'd be mad? And dude caught on to what he was saying. If someone came back from Jerusalem. So you would be mad at the very God you love.
Right.
Mm.
Wow.
Hello, Peter.
Mm.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, man.
You don't even want Jesus living in your neighborhood.
Yeah, when you
Praise the Lord.
because when you personalize it and you make it personal, then they, like you said, they're stuck. They want to think and seem logic outside of that, but when you bring it home and put it in their lap, what am I supposed to do with this? Digest it. What you mean? You made me do it.
Suck it up.
It's like, get ready.
Yeah, and I was trying to pull this this quote up by Chris Cuomo, if you guys heard about this, which is kind of in line with
Last night.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
says police reform won't happen until white kids start getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching that when he said that. I was like, well,
I didn't watch it, but I seen it circulating.
oh, it's been circulating since Friday night. I think it was Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, his security detail better step it up because you start talking some sense like that.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do is make some sense. Dark right. Make some sense. Your ass is hanging with Elvis.
Exactly.
Religion and government are designed to do the same thing: control the masses and keep them in place. Labrador, Matador, rolling. Those poor white people still think they will be rich one day.
Right. Exactly.
Now, towards the end of part one,
that was my favorite part.
Now, I don't know you going at what I'm going at, but cutting off the hands in the Congo of the people that didn't bring rubber. I'm like, again, savagery.
Right.
Again, thievery. Again, forcing your way to get something that was not and is not yours. Go ahead, A-Trap.
That was my favorite part. Not even the part that you were talking about. That part right there is my favorite part. You know why? That's the birth of Uncle Tom's story. Uncle Tom would, let's say everybody got to do 125 pounds of cotton. Uncle Tom would do 250. So if Ivan was short, if I was short, or you was short, or Wilson short, and now we even. And because he wouldn't submit and tell on the damn slave the runaways or the escaped prisoners of war, they got Sambo and Gumbo to kill him.
Wow.
And white America did the same as they did with watermelon. Our freed ancestors said, we ain't eating them chitlins no more. We ain't eating none of that slop no more. We're going to eat watermelon because it's the most nutrient-rich fruit down here. And they made watermelon shameful, just like they made Uncle Tom, who was willing to take extra lashes and work extra hard so people could live, and made him a derogatory term. So that's the birth of the
Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom. So when you call somebody Uncle Tom, Stephen A. Smith, sorry. You call somebody Uncle Tom, at the end of the day, you're really getting them a compliment, because Uncle Tom used to lay down his life for the people who was escaping. And they asked him, a couple of Africans said, come on, Tom, come with us. You can get out of here. He said, no, my mission is here. So basically, I'm gonna sacrifice my life and my happiness so more people like you can get away.
And look how conditioned that term is now. It's supposed to be derogatory. It's so conditioned.
Yeah, because white people saw it and said, because he is an enemy to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I need to make my enemy your enemy.
Here's a fun fact. If you eat the rind off a watermelon,
Hey, Alexa, put watermelons on my grocery list.
No kidding. Look it up. Look it up.
Oh man.
Fun fact. Look it up.
She literally said,
okay,
stop.
You won't need no pills. Just for the record.
Oh, wow.
Message. Knowledge. So kind of back to that part was heartbreaking, because you got people that they're like, that's all I got. And they're like, well, that's not enough. So we gonna chop your hand off, and we gonna put it in a basket with other hands. Like that is.
Because it's for the next one, right? I'm gonna do you like this. I'm gonna do you like this, so the next one gonna see.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if capitulation is the word you're looking for earlier today, Ben. If you see enough hands in the back, you tell me what you'd have did. See, that's the hard question we got to ask ourselves. What you'd have did if you just saw a basket full of black hands?
Right.
Yeah.
Back then.
And then still expected those, and did still had them building and working, and constructing palaces and houses and things. I'm like, oh my gosh.
The White House.
Right. Like, come on, man.
And they made them take a photo holding the hands.
Well, see, here's the deal. But what we have not talked about on that specific piece of it is they had the young cat do the hand cutting off.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't cut your hand off. We had him one of your boys cut your hand off.
Right.
And think about think about that today. We're not cutting your hand off. We getting one of your boys to cut your hand off.
Oh yeah.
It's some hand cutting going on today.
William Bill O'Neill. Hello.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Quote Malcolm X, they get one of you to kill one of you, so they can say it's one of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Man.
Exactly. Oh, and let's not forget. So, in that moment, it's that term that's always out there. You've also created black on black crime too. Is there anything you don't invent? Really? Like, oh man.
I ain't cut your hand off. Your brother did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Look at him. Look at him over there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Look at them. Look at them being the savages that we are.
Right.
Yeah. They say, you know, I was thinking about, you know, they said these aren't people, these are animals, beasts, you know, and if we said that about anybody right now, man, I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
Irene, thank you for tuning in tonight. Labrador Matador, they create extreme poverty and desperation that forces black on black crime.
Right.
Sound it out, Ben. Sound it out, baby.
Hey, I gotta slow it down. Make sure I ain't trying to get tortured anymore tonight.
But also ties into my point from last week. Remember, I said I'm not gonna blame crime and mayhem on the franchise anymore.
Right.
Because if the government is supposed to provide you with opportunity, and they remove those opportunities,
what else am I gonna turn to?
Right.
Yeah.
I ain't blaming criminals on crime. No.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna starve to death. I'm just gonna stay out here and starve to death.
Yeah. So anybody want to add anything else? And kind of a direct correlation I want to go to here in just a minute, but anybody else want to add? Which I had to pause. Like this, I think this was the first thing we watched where I had to pause and take notes because it was just coming at you.
Right.
You know, I mean, normally I could look away for a minute and take some notes. You can't look away like this.
There was a moment, maybe short, or maybe going into the credits, going into the next episode, where of course, you see these Europeans, they're the savages laying with women, and they look like underage children. And then all of a sudden you flip it. So now it's the natives that are raping the women.
Mm-hmm.
It's the black men that's raping the women.
Mm-hmm.
They're the savages. They're killing. But yet you got photos of
Taking photos
explorers.
proudly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Taking
proudly.
photos proudly.
The hand on the
right.
all over. Yeah. Right.
But then you flip it, like, look at these savages. They're attacking our women. They're taking over. Look at them. They're pillaging. And it's like, but that's not what the photos just showed. Right. That's what you painting though. That's
Birth of a Nation.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The original one.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He painted this. He's painting the picture, and he's showing you both sides. And I think maybe in the second, or maybe it was the second one where he said, I don't know. He said, "I'm not on either side, but I want to understand." It was something to the Greek.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like he's going through the same process. You know?
Yeah, that's right, man. He's saying, what am I? Again, if you can watch this, now when we first started talking about this, H-Rap was saying, white folks gonna be mad when they see that this is out, but you see, some black folks gonna be mad that this is out because it's gonna force you. There's no way you can watch this and not be forced to think, not be forced to see what is my place in this. Toward the end of it, they talk about land being broken up into bite-sized pieces we can sell to each body. The American dream. Mm-hmm. Own this property, and so again, we are willing / unwillingly participants.
Yeah,
we are willing / unwilling participants at the end of the day.
Yeah, true.
And so it's some hard questions we got to ask ourselves.
That's real.
That's true.
That's real.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just you can even look at like. Do y'all remember that? Oh God, KMD was the name of that rap group. He had the song Peach Fuzz. Peach Fuzz.
Mm.
And if you listen to that album, the lead rapper, he just died. He died under the name MF Doom. When he used to rap, on this group, he was Raoul Peck. And he got this song called Banana Peel Blues, where he literally walks you through this documentary. Mm-hmm. He made that album in maybe 88.
Wow.
Wow.
He just died with like November or October?
October.
Yep, October. And he was like, if you ask me this, they gonna call me crazy Muslim.
Yeah.
And then he broke it down. He's like, he said, he went to the Bible. He said, man became a living soul. And then he's like, y'all call me a monkey, but y'all have ape-like tendencies.
Mm.
Right.
Man, yeah.
Wow. Labrador Matador. Well, I'm white. And it made me feel absolutely disgusted. I knew a lot of it already, but it doesn't. I think he's probably about to type something else.
Yeah.
But
that goes hand in hand with one of the notes that I made, because in the documentary he said neutrality is not an option.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Neutrality is not an option, and that's basically what Labrador Matador is saying right now. I'm white, and it made me feel absolutely disgusting. So that's the thing. This is the human condition that we're talking about at this point. Right. At the end of the day, we're talking about human beings, and it has any other differences you can come up with. Again, you can put 12 African Americans in a room, you're gonna get diversity. You can put 12 white folks in a room, you're gonna get diversity. So again, at the end of the day, it's about human beings. One set of human beings treating another set of human beings a certain way. And if you can watch human beings be mistreated, again, how many times have we heard over the last decade that folks are more upset about dogs being mistreated than they are about black folks getting killed? You kill a dog and you're gonna,
right.
You're gonna get sent to Leavenworth Penitentiary.
Yeah.
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 You're gonna get 3 years. You'll get 2.5 years in Leavenworth Penitentiary.
If that's not an indictment on our state of being, on our mindset, and if you think you born thinking that way, if you're born thinking, I'm putting more value on an animal's life than another man's life, you're sadly mistaken. We are conditioned that way.
Right.
Through what I mean, man, if you dissect some of the cartoons, man, there's a couple of documentaries talking about your cartoons, man. You wake up, so we getting you early. You wake up on a Saturday morning at 3, 4, 5. Go back and look at some of the stuff we was watching every Saturday morning, man.
Yeah. So he said, I find it the ultimate hypocrisy that the white doctors in the 19th century had the audacity to call. I guess, but maybe because you're on Twitter, I think you only got so many characters you can type in. But man, Labrador Matador tonight, man, you really had a lot of great input on the show. So we are appreciative of you and everything that you've contributed tonight. Where you want, A-Trap?
I dropped some medication.
Some watermelon rind.
Watermelon.
Oh man.
Oh man, I got some alarmingly high blood pressure. I'll take this. I ain't gonna be on the show next week. You're gonna be doing the show from the ER.
Well, we hope not. We hope not.
Less than 280. Or maybe that's a continuation.
Taryn Rodriguez, we are not getting tired of the updates. I have been paying attention. I just hadn't said anything. You still ain't told me nothing about Texas, though. I need to know what they're doing. And yes, Labrador Matador, we do this weekly.
Every week at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. That's 7 Pacific time, right here. He said, "Drop that penicillin." Big Illinois just popped in every once in a while.
Yeah.
Chris Chrisman.
Yeah, he made an appearance today, Mr. Chrisman.
Appreciate that. So the part 2, which we'll be reviewing next week, who the F is Columbus? If that's not a great part 2.
What was the quote I heard? Christopher Columbus did everything on somebody else's money because he didn't know where he was going and he didn't know where he was coming from.
Man,
just in the way. Like, you don't even know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
Like, get out of here, man.
But I figure we kind of round out the show with the George Floyd with Derek Chauvin trial. Closing arguments. They are now.
No, you said it right. That was a Freudian slip you just had. Okay, you said the George Floyd trial because that's what they tried to make it. So that was a Freudian slip.
He's not on trial, but
right. But they presented it. So on CNN, right before we kind of got on, Emmett Till's one of Emmett Till's relatives. I don't remember. Emmett Till's relative and George Floyd's brother came together, had a conversation, and they're conversating and working together. I just thought how powerful is that? We're talking about years and years ago to today, and it's still the same thing. It's just brought a different way. It's not coming from it's coming from white supremacists still, but it's coming from the police and not from Joe Bo and whoever down the street.
Right.
So if any of you guys want to touch on that, and one thing I'll say is, to me, it's very simple. Just do what you've seen, or do what everybody's seen. It's not as if this is a confusion or, oh, I don't know what happened. You know exactly what happened. There's no confusion here. This really shouldn't really take that long, to be honest. It should have been done with tonight. But
first of all, Christopher Columbus' real name is not Christopher Columbus. It's Cristoforo Colombo. He wouldn't even know who. If you met Christopher Columbus and called him that, he'd be like, "Who?" Second of all, you know how I always remind you guys how the ancestors always working with us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you listen to the show Saturday. I don't know if anybody who's listening currently listen to the show. My show Saturday. I touched on this. This is how the ancestors work. 1969 December 4th, Fred Hampton was murdered. Fred Hampton's mother used to babysit Emmett Till. 2020, George Floyd is murdered. 2021, the young brother Antoine was murdered. George Floyd's girlfriend was his teacher.
Yeah, you did. I did hear you say that. Yeah, the connection. You're right. It's
crazy.
It's amazing.
It's almost like another tug, a wake up call, like a push. Like, hey, I don't know what else I got to do to light this fire under your ass, but here it is. Like,
it's like that joke, Wilkes. The man was in New Orleans, and he was in his house praying, and somebody came down on a motorboat. And he was like, "Come on, I got you." He was like, "No, I'm praying to the Lord."
I've heard it.
He went upstairs. And then a bigger boat came past and said, "Come on, man, and we got you." He said, No. Then he went on this roof, and a helicopter swooped down and was like, "Hey, we got you." And then he ended up drowning. When he got to heaven, he said, "God, I prayed all day to you. You ain't saved me." He said, "Man, I sent 2 boats in a helicopter with us."
I'm not gonna send Noah.
Right. you think I'm gonna come down? Like, okay, here you go.
Right. I got stuff to do.
Right. I'm busy.
Right.
I'm looking at my March Madness table.
Right. I'm about to have one of the keys of March Madness prayers too.
Yeah, I'll get back to you in a minute.
Yeah, man. It's just, man. For selfish reasons, I'm glad that this is the way it is. This came out, man. Because we have to. Y'all heard me say this. Well, Ben has heard me say this on my show. If you keep being an American and you stop being a human, you have lost. You heard me say that, right, Ben? Lead that Americanism to itself, that greed, that capitalism, that selfish. Hey, and then it takes me like, okay, and I'm gonna be quiet. Chicago is the gang capital of the world. Most gangs in America come from Chicago. They're derived from the gangs in Chicago. The movie Colors was initially supposed to be here in Chicago, but the politicians are crooked, and they was like, we go back home and get our own gangs. But it's this one gang. I might get beat up tomorrow for saying this. Literally. But it's this one gang that is extremely powerful. I'm not going to say any names, just not to incriminate anyone. And they say, do for self. But they constructed their gang that self, we're all 4 of us are self.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of me.
That's right.
So I don't just do for me. I do for I do for Wilkes, and I do for Ben.
Right.
So just for those people who say gangs are worthless and gangs are this and gangs are that, keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That gang principle, and it was at one point the largest gang in the United States of America. I remember when that gang got taken down in 1984, 86. They had people in Texas, LA. They had it was somebody in that gang in all 50 states. Well, at least where we primarily live.
Yeah. We appreciate that, Labrador Matador. You guys have been great, informative, humorous, topical. I hope to catch you next week. One love. Yeah, we'll be on.
Hey, subscribe to
bam. Like, subscribe, click that notification bell. Now you're watching on Twitter, so share, follow. We'll be back on definitely next week, same time, same channel.
Go to BS3 on YouTube and subscribe, and then use the notification bell.
Yes, thank you for that. Anything else anybody wants to add on it to this trial? No. Hopefully tomorrow. I mean, we hear something.
No, in fact,
I already told you my point.
It's like, you know, I'm glad why we take those breaks and we review the King Kongs versus Godzillas and, you know, these other movies, because man, we couldn't. You said A-Trap before the show. You told him to pick out some more movies. I don't know if that's a good idea, man, because we keep reviewing these kind of movies, man. It's tough on the brother, man. It is tough. That's like, you know, he basically forcing you to carry a mirror around all week long. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because if we know that's coming up, I'm thinking about it. You know, I done watched it. Okay, I got to watch this Exterminate the Brutes. I'm thinking about it. I've watched it. I'm thinking about the points, how it impacted me. So I mean, I can't be carrying no mirror around with me every day, all day, man. You know.
Hey, man, I told y'all. I told something else. I said, man, this one is heavy.
And we got a month of it.
Yeah,
we got 3 more weeks.
3 more episodes.
3 more.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I didn't mean to hear. Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to jam everybody up, man. But
no, it's good.
Hey, this is real. This is why I look forward to this show, because I think we and our own, you know, self, we look forward to this because we hit the topics that some people may not want to talk about, but also we have a different perspective, and we are learning from each other, and people are learning from us. I'm sure, especially A-Trap, the knowledge you drop every single week. So,
no, man, I'm the dumbest about it. I can only spell A-Trap. I'm not tricking. 2 + 2 is 9. See, don't listen to me. I'm a podcaster. Don't listen to me.
But I bet you we can start a movement about the 2 + 2 is 9, and by the end of this year, we'll have some folks willing to fight to prove that 2 + 2 is really 9. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Sad but true, my brother.
There's some folks believe in some stuff that's
right
about the same, is adding up the same way.
The same arithmetic.
I promise you.
Man, well, it was a great conversation tonight. We'll be back on next week, part 2, which is going to get even more deeper. And again, shout out to the director, Raoul Peck. Man, this is work that he put in, piecing these things together, having different input from the author, and there's another author that was also included in this. But you know, great conversation. So, Wilkes, appreciate you.
I was actually peeking at some. They were showing like new imperialism in 1870 and 1914. Then they were talking about the scramble for Africa, like how, and I think I want to say part 2, or maybe in part 1, they talked about how the race to invade Africa was a thing, like to get its riches and its people, and pretty much trying to take over from that. But it was interesting. They kind of lightly touched on that. I don't know if it's going to touch on that anymore, but I was just reading some of that, how European colonism was a target to take over that area.
Yeah, and it was, and I agree. I don't know if this was in 1 or 2, but it showed them basically taking apart Africa and how different, you know, Britain and all these other countries were coming.
Belgium,
yeah.
Oh yeah, all of Belgium. They speak about Belgium. They talk
shout out to Ghana for kicking out the Swiss. And, no, seriously, they kicked them out.
Well, that's what I said.
No more cocoa for y'all.
Yeah, I was watching something here recently that I had pulled up on my iPad. But yeah, they mentioned all that. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Doc?
For history is the fruit of power. That came from episode 1. For history is the fruit of power.
Yes, that was powerful too. All right, A-Trap, I'm gonna bring it to you, and you can close this out.
Dream those dreams, and man, I'm one up and live those dreams. It's life without dreams floats in black and white. Life with dreams floats in technicolor and surround sound. Shout out to Reggie O'Shea. Shout out to Dr. Carr. Shout out to Joe Madison, Karen Hunter, Laurie Favors, Clay. What is it? Clay? I can't think his name. Clay on and Noon.
I think he's on it.
Clay Kane, when Heather B, and even Reverend Al. And with that being said, y'all know how I end all these shows. Shout out to Craig, Craig Facts, and if I owe you something, I ain't got it, and if you need it, get it from God.
Peace. We out. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, liking,
next week.
subscribing. See you guys next week, part 2.